What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I was just going over some of the past projects that I've done. So here you see an outdoor table made out of slab wood. So what happened, we had a tree growing up next to our deck. So I extended the deck and built the deck around the tree many years ago. And then the tree died off in the top, so I decided to have the tree cut down and then later make it into a tabletop. So I bought a slab of Canadian maple wood, and this slab is 3 feet wide by 6 feet long, and it was not cheap to purchase, but and then I bought some epoxy that was probably around $100. It was not your typical epoxy you get from a hardware store, but it came from a planing mill, so it was a really good quality, the kind you mix together, and then you can either pour it or put it on with a thin coat with a spatula, or a putty knife. So what I did, I poured epoxy on it, and then I built a base underneath out of treated lumber. You can see to stabilize the table, and I'll try to run up along here, let you see underneath, to give the table some stability. And then I braced it on each end like so, as you can see. And then like I said, I did the epoxy. So the epoxy held up really well through the winter months, but I did notice this spring. So what I did, I left the bark on the edges, and in hindsight, that was not a great idea, because the bark absorbed moisture because it was not sealed, and then the moisture started working its way back up underneath the epoxy. As you can see, it's starting to separate on the edges here. So and then on the other side, I'm going to show you on the other side of the table, it's even more prominent. You can see where it's worked back up underneath the coating. And there's even a little bit of mold and mildew building up in underneath the epoxy. So it wasn't the fault of the epoxy. You can see where it's separated right there. So it's bubbling up there. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut this epoxy along this line, and then sand it down a bit, take the bark off, and then put another coat of epoxy, a thick coat of epoxy on this wood, to where the water can't work its way back up under the epoxy. So anyway, it's a really nice job, but so just a little bit of a learning curve on that. So if you ever decide to do an epoxy table such as this, and it's exposed to the elements outside, then you certainly want to take the bark completely off, or make sure the bark is completely sealed if you want to leave it on, if it's going to be outdoors. If it's indoors, not a big deal, but outdoors would be a whole different story. Anyway, I hope that helps if you have any intention of doing such a project in the future. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, Journey with G Poppy. Hope you have a great day.